Good morning, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalski, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom.
Way beyond the courtroom.
Way beyond the courtroom.
But kind of coming closer to the courtroom now.
Right. Yeah, we've been kind of far away from the courtroom for the last month or so, but we're going to start to ease our way back as we go in the next few weeks. So it's been fun, though.
Yeah.
Little performing arts month, I think I'm going to call it.
Who knew that attorneys actually had a life outside the law?
You know, my wife even doesn't even know that. So she's like, "Why? What is this? All this performing arts stuff you've been talking about?" So I've fooled her into thinking that I'm cultured.
But what a release for you. I mean, because certainly law practice, a lot of work, a lot of long hours.
Well, it's interesting. I've really enjoyed sort of this last month talking about the Fringe Festival and performing arts. And, we've got, today we're going to, remember we talked last week about the Alzheimer's fundraiser that my friend is doing down at the Pig and Whistle. So I'm going to head down there today. So,
very cool.
Yeah. So after this month, though, I think I will have my fill of Hollywood for about a year, probably.
Yeah.
So, well, Mike, it's the longest day of the year today. Did you know that?
That's right.
It's the summer solstice.
June 21st.
Yes. So very long today, which means our show is still the same length.
Yeah.
But you have more time to enjoy it on the podcast.
So it's kind of like not that like daylight savings time where you go to bed early. You don't lose anything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I used to live in Arizona for a really long time, and they don't use daylight savings time.
That's right.
Yeah, so you never have to change anything, but what you do have to do is you have to be aware that the rest of the country changes, so that if you have a friend in another state, you've got to go, well, which part of the year is it, so I know what time it is there when I'm calling them. So that's the skill you get. It makes it more difficult, I think, than just changing like everybody else.
Pacific Standard Time as opposed to Pacific Daylight Time.
Yes, well, look at you.
That's important.
Look at you dropping some knowledge with regards to the time zones. So
stuff you have to know.
That's right. How was your week?
It was good.
Anything exciting happen, Mike?
Not really. Today's Father's Day.
It is Father's Day. Yeah. Yes. So my father is in Arizona, so I don't have to take him out for lunch or anything. But I do.
But what time is it there right now?
It's this. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good question. I believe we are on the same time now, and then I think in October when it changes again, then we will be on different times. So my father's an early riser though, so he's always I can always call him early in the morning, and no matter what time it is here or there, he will be up.
Yeah.
So I think that's just after his 40 years of getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work. So once you do that for that long, you don't switch back, I don't think.
It's automatic.
Right. Sleeping in for him is going to 5:30.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's Father's Day today. And so if everyone's out there enjoying their Father's Day, I have an interesting Father's Day fact for you. Would you like to hear it, Michael?
I would.
All right.
Fire away.
All right. So the drinking fountain was invented. I don't know if you knew that. It didn't just come magically out of thin air like we just take it for granted. But someone actually had to invent the drinking fountain. Okay. And that guy's name was Halsey Taylor. And do you know why he invented the drinking fountain, Michael?
I have no idea. People were thirsty. I don't know.
One, yes, he filled a need in the market. You have to identify a need in the market. But he had a more of a emotional reason to do so. This is kind of a bummer, but his father succumbed to typhoid fever after drinking from a contaminated water supply in 1896. So he said to himself, you know what, I'm going to fix this problem as a tribute to my father, and he actually went and invented the drinking fountain.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know the facts surrounding what people did before the drinking fountain. I guess they just went to the well.
The garden hose.
Did something. Yeah, well, I don't even know if they had garden hoses back then. 1896? Did they have gardens?
Yeah.
Of course they had gardens.
Yeah.
That was
but it was like water in a bucket. They didn't have the,
That was a trick.
You didn't have the collapsible, as seen on TV, hose that you could.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was a trick question, Mike.
Good?
Of course they had gardens back then.
Bitching, yeah.
That's how people enjoyed their time together, was by gardening and reading books by candlelight.
Oh, sure.
So Father's Day. Father's Day is a lot like Mother's Day for me. Is that I always am stressed out about getting whatever gift I'm going to get there on time, and so and then when is the good time for the obligatory phone call? Right. So do I do it in the morning, early in the morning, or do I let it sort of simmer for the day? And how long is too long until you're just a bad son, you have called too late?
California time or Arizona time?
Again, and that's another factor that most children don't have to deal with. So what would you think, Mike? Do we think it's going to be, what would be the latest you could call and still be in the good range of success?
Ooh, I think noon.
Noon?
Yeah.
Well, then I've been a bad son for
You
like
are,
the
yeah.
last 20 years.
You still have time.
Right?
We can call him now.
Yeah, right, Lo. Let's not do that.
Hi, Dad. You're on the air.
Hey, Dad,
By
what's
the way,
up? He'd be
hope
like,
I
who
called
is
early
this?
enough.
Which son is this? Who is this? Why are you calling me?
Who's your favorite son? Yeah.
That's right. Do you need money? No, Dad, I don't need money. So, do you need to borrow the car? No, Dad. That was, high school was 25 years ago. So,
You know, Father's Day really is kind of like an American thing. I think a lot of other countries don't really celebrate or recognize that.
it seems for the holidays now that there's a holiday like every other day.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's manufactured chair day, or Flag Day is my favorite. Like, is that so important that someone has to have a day celebrating all the flags?
National Donut Day.
And
That's
also, this reminds me, is there's a store that I drove by one day that's like a flag store. It's all they do is sell flags.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the lamp store. Like, do people need enough demand for flags that there's an actual dedicated? And it was a big store too. Like, I can understand a small mom and pop store for flags, but this thing was huge. And it's like a Walmart size store. Like, do you really need that much demand for flags?
Coming up on break, but real quick, David Letterman, fantastic entertainer, great show. He's did all these comedy bits, and there was actually a store called Just Shades. All they sold was lampshades.
Really?
If you wanted to buy a lamp, you had to go to Just Lamps, and next scene he's at a store that says Just Lamps with no shades.
When we come back from the break, Mike and I are going to invent some Just Something kind of store for future financial
that's
success.
some pressure.
You're listening to Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalski, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Welcome back, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalski, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. So, Michael, I'm still racking
Ultimate Father's Day gift. I just saw this online. This is from Fortune magazine, and it's you can have your own in-home IMAX theater.
What if your house isn't big enough to have an IMAX screen? Like, you just have like a nice, modest house, and then you have this addition, which is, suddenly goes 4 stories into the air. It might make your neighbors a little upset.
For a mere $2.5 million,
That's it?
You could watch your what's that movie like the Time Machine, the Jacuzzi Time Machine.
Oh, Hot Tub Time
Yeah,
Machine.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking on IMAX that would look great.
Did I tell you when we went to the Hot Tub Time Machine, my wife and I went to it in the theater, and a couple left in a huff in like the first 10 minutes?
Nerve.
I know. Well, it says Hot Tub Time Machine right on the ticket.
Right.
It does not say Spartacus on there. Right? So they knew they had to go to the box office and say 2 for Hot Tub Time Machine.
Jeez.
I don't know. I digress on that big time, but
That's the kind of movie that's going to be on TV eventually, and it's like when you're scrolling through the channels, you're compelled to stop and watch it.
yes.
Kind of like The Big Lebowski. Whenever that's on, you got to stop.
Of course. I'm a little enraged right now, actually. I just found out some information that enrages me.
Go ahead.
Would you like to know what it is?
I would love to, yes.
So today in Times Square.
Because I want to keep your stress level down.
Yes, that's right. You can say it's so high today. My stress levels. I'm pegging on the red meter on today's show as we move back some point back to the law. So on today in Times Square, from the morning to the evening, sunrise to sunset on the longest day of the year, there is a bunch of people going to be doing yoga in Times Square because today is also the first ever International Day of Yoga.
Ah.
Which is, are we starting to run out of days where there's like, you know what? Let's just put it right on Father's Day. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
So like, does your father have to do yoga now? Like they've co-opted the day?
There's no days left. They're like sharing days.
Well, there's like a donut day or like honor your mechanic day or whatever. But now they're taking, like Father's Day is a pretty big holiday, right?
Right.
I would assume.
Well, I mean, in the States, yeah.
Well, yeah. Back to this. Am I being too United States centric?
No. I think you're right. I don't think it's celebrated in much other places. Maybe Canada.
We are big in Belize, Mike.
Belize, we have listeners there.
Huge in Belize. My wife, as you know, who is an actress, got an autograph request versus email from Peru today.
Well, you've made it when you.
She's huge in Peru.
Yeah.
She's huge in Peru. She's huge in Turkey, and she's huge in Saudi Arabia because she's had things go in all of those places. And I am huge in Belize, and so that's it. My wife is now. We have this sort of like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego thing, but it's where in the world are our fans and admirers? She's beating me by 2 countries.
But National Yoga Day, I think what it is we're just out of holidays. So now you got to share days.
I just think, I don't know, people want to do anything they possibly can
Now-
to avoid actually just going outside and enjoying the weather or the nature or something. They have to be like, what's the holiday? I have to have a holiday to tell me what to be happy about today.
Could Mother's and Father's Day be on the same day? Like maybe call it Parents' Day?
I don't think so, because I think, for families that have divorced parents that
Oh,
might be
yeah.
problematic. So, you know,
Is there like a divorced parents' day?
I'm sure I will guarantee we should we should effort that right
look
now.
right
We should
now.
Google that. I almost guarantee you that if there's not a divorced parents' day, there is like an effort to do that. So, but then you have the weird thing is if you remarry, then do you get to celebrate both the divorced day and if you have new kids like Father's Day or whatever?
Good question.
I need a flow chart to be able to figure this
figure
all
that
out.
out, yeah.
We're efforting that as we speak. So, so I'm.
There is a Parents' Day apparently in the United States.
What
too.
day is Parents' Day?
Let me find out. Hold on.
Because I have not. Number one, most people have parents, from what I understand, right?
Yeah.
So I would think most people would have to know about this Parents' Day, but I've never heard of it.
I haven't either. I'm looking here. So National Parents' Day in 2014. When they,
Was it just 1 year, just
well,
2014?
maybe they don't do it anymore. Maybe it's like every 10 years they celebrate.
Nobody knew about it.
National Parents
I guess
Decade.
this holiday didn't take much like National Mud Day.
July 27th,
July.
National Parents' Day.
So you're telling me I'm 42. So for the last 42 years, I have neglected to wish my parents a happy National Parents' Day?
It's been in place since 1994.
Oh,
been celebrating it.
well, that makes it a little bit better. So that means
I don't see any cards at my local pharmacy.
I just tried to do the math in my head about how many National Parents' Days I have missed. And 2004, 11, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Producer, please check that
Yes.
for me. 11. So I have missed 11 National Parents' Days.
No, it's since 94.
Yeah, 11.
No, we're at 2015.
Yeah.
So it's like 21, right?
No.
I mean, we're not good on math here on the show.
4 plus 6 is 10, right? That puts us at 2010.
Okay.
And then 10 plus 5
That's
is
right.
5, so it's
That's
11.
Right, you're right.
Mike.
My bad.
Mike.
I am smarter than a fifth grader.
That's
though.
true. And I did spring that math problem on you without any sort of notice. And I was told there would be no math on today's show.
Right.
So, and I believe that did make the memo for you, and I apologize.
I wasn't ready for that.
I apologize for violating the math. No math in the memo. No, also no science today. But we came very close to the science issue with the water fountain fact. So, I guess I'm still enraged about this yoga situation. I mean, I like yoga. I'm pro yoga, just like anybody else. But does yoga need its own day?
Is that your phone going off?
It is. That's my first
You're
ever not having my phone on silent and way to be on the courtroom.
I don't know. Those that are into yoga, I think yoga is a fantastic thing. I'll give you that. I mean, I think it's a wonderful for your mind, for your body. I have tried yoga, and I got to tell you, I thought I needed traction afterwards.
Yeah.
Because you use parts of your body and your mind, you don't really use it any other way.
I had a
good thing.
very similar experience. My wife was always trying to get me to go to yoga for like a really long time, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then we had a yoga CD in our house, literally for months and months and months, just sitting there taunting me, saying that you are not man enough to do this. And I was like, "Okay." One day, I put the yoga CD in, and I started out. It was pretty good. I started to center my chakras, and I got to say Namaste to myself, and then all of a sudden, in my back, there was some muscle that has never been used, but that some position I went into that tried to use, and I fell down on the floor, and my muscle seized, and I was basically like asking for a medic. I was like, medic, and my wife just was looking at me, shaking her head, saying, I don't know what to do with you, which she does almost every day on a multiple basis.
So dramatic.
I know, right?
Oh,
well,
my
she is an
goodness.
actress, so
Well,
it was me.
that
I was dramatic. Yes,
That muscle awaked. That's
Yes.
what it was.
Yeah,
from the
it was-
yoga.
well, during the break, I'm going to see if I can awaken some more muscles and center my chakras. You're listening to Wade Beyond the Courtroom. This is Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220. Welcome back, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm attorney Wade Skalski, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. So, during the break, I think I did realign a chakra or two. I'm feeling a little bit more,
Good.
a little more in alignment. You know, I think we were going a little out of alignment the last month. A lot of performing arts away from the law. I think this is our transition show back into more legal type topics after today, and so I think maybe we'll start with something interesting like Donald Trump. How does that sound?
You're fired.
I know, right? No, actually, there is a legal tie-in, so we will have at least some legal talk today. But so, did you know that, I'm sure you heard, Donald Trump declared for the presidency?
I heard.
He came down some escalator like the movie Rain Man or something, I guess.
Came down or fell down?
I don't know. But I guess he just kind of came down an escalator, came out and had some rambling speech for like an hour or whatever. So I don't know. I didn't hear it.
He's a
But
rambler.
what I did find interesting about that, though, is that a lot of people think that Trump's candidacy is just a publicity stunt.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, and this is when we start to get in some of the legal formalities. People don't know this, but if you're actually going to participate in the presidential election process, there are certain legal formalities that you must follow. One of them is that you need to file paperwork with the appropriate federal agency saying to start, hey, we're going to be part of the process, whatever.
Right.
And Donald Trump has not done that yet.
What's the delay?
Well, I don't think he really plans on running. I think he's just, I don't know if maybe it's just he hasn't gotten around to it, but I think his big concern is publicity.
I think if you're going to run for president or, throw your hat in the ring, learn the rules first.
Well, I'm sure he knows the rules. Somebody with him knows the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like he's delegated to his attorneys to be like, what are we going to do or whatever. But I don't think it's a serious candidacy. I think it's one of those things where he's getting millions and millions and millions of dollars of free publicity. I mean, first of all, we're talking about him on Wade Beyond the Courtroom. So we know right there. Do you know how much money it costs to get your name mentioned on Wade Beyond the Courtroom?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we're going to get that IMAX.
I'm sure we've helped him.
Right. That's how we're going to get that IMAX theater in our house.
$2.5 million.
That's right.
Yes.
So that's just like 2 or 3 Trump references.
Oh, exactly.
We're only one reference away from that IMAX thing in my house.
I think didn't he try this before, though?
That's the whole thing. He always talks about running, or he does. I don't know if he's ever officially tried to announce before, though. But the thing is that he hasn't even filed the paperwork in terms of to get the process started, because you have exploration committees that do it sometimes.
Right,
before they do it. You have to have, think about it. You have to have mechanisms in every single state for volunteers, for getting out the vote. So I don't really think it's a serious candidacy.
No, I don't either.
But he's a genius marketer.
Well, and I think his angle probably is that we should run this country like a business. And I think that others have had that too.
Right.
But that's just kind of like his mindset.
Right. Well, look, it's we don't ever really talk politics on Wade Beyond the Courtroom.
I think Trump's thing on anything he does, and I like Donald Trump. I'm not against him. I don't think he's a presidential material, but that's beyond the point. I can't have an opinion on that. But I think he's looking for a return in everything he does.
He's looking for a return.
For a return,
of course, yeah.
And that's why he's successful.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But he's kind of sometimes he kind of comes off like a clown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's
But that's his persona. That's his shtick.
But do we want somebody that comes off like a clown in the presidency?
Probably not.
Like we don't even know. Like we don't know a lot about him, even though he has a very public persona. We don't even know if his hair is real.
Well, he did the ice bucket challenge.
He did,
and it didn't fall off.
What?
Yeah.
So did we just solve the Donald Trump is his hair real or not mystery?
Either his hair is real, or he's got some really good glue to hold it down.
Well, and here's the thing, though. He probably knew that the ice bucket challenge was going to happen in advance, so he could have made preparations. He could have gone into the Donald Trump lab and had some mad scientist, do something for him on his head. I think the only way to really truly prove it is if we were to do sort of a surprise ice bucket challenge on him. Do you think you and I could do that together?
I'm not sure how legal that is.
Well, technically, here's a legal question. Technically, an argument can be made that it's an assault.
Here's a good question. If you're going to run for an office like president, do you want to have an attorney before you do that?
I think you want to have like 30 of them.
Yeah,
you got to have, because the trade or the trade.
Or any public office.
Of course. Well, the election laws, in terms of, you can get into a lot of trouble in terms of your campaign finance and all of that. You see this a lot in terms of public officials misusing campaign funds, and you can get in big time trouble for that. Like people have to actually go to jail for that. So yeah, you definitely want some lawyers, and that's one thing about the advantage of having good lawyers is that you sit down, you say, guys, what can we do? What can we not do? And you just run everything through them. And then if you've got a good lawyer, you don't trip up those mistakes. You definitely don't try to figure that stuff out yourself.
Is that to level the playing field, you think?
Well, that's some of the purpose of. And look, I'm not a campaign finance law or election lawyer, but definitely some of the purposes of campaign finance are to make sure that the field is fair, meaning that money is used in a way that does not alter the political process, even though we all know that it does.
Yeah.
That's why there's this big debate about Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, because they've got all this money that came in at the same time that Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. Now, I'm not making a political point on either side.
Exactly.
But what I am saying, though, is that anytime that money is involved and there's private money, even though technically it's a charity and someone's in public office, questions will be raised.
Yeah.
Something, nothing may have happened at all. I have no idea. I haven't done the due diligence, and frankly, that's questions for other shows and other people. But that's why an attorney is incredibly helpful in those situations, because they can say, look, you can do this, you cannot do this, and it gives you some level of insulation as well, because you can always, it's just like a CPA. You can always point to your expert and say, hey, this is the advice that I relied upon, and as long as you have an email chain of correspondence that can be proven, that can be helpful in certain situations.
Right.
It's not always that way. There are some things you can't just say, hey, my lawyer told me to go rob that bank, and it would be okay. Obviously, that doesn't count. But
No.
but for real kind of complicated white collar issues or complicated election law and stuff like that, you absolutely want to have lawyers helping you with that, because the regulations are so complex and numerous that it's almost impossible for one person to sort of navigate them that's never seen them before.
Okay, so 30 seconds. Trump's hair. Is it a comb over, toupee, or transplant? Do we know?
I thought we just solved it on the...
Well, the Ice Bucket Challenge says yes.
Well, so then it's either real or it's a transplant.
Yeah, billionaire reveals Ice Bucket Challenge and stayed on.
But here's the thing. I don't think any normal, sane human being would put their hair, style it that way.
No. Well, this is the thing.
This is why maybe Donald Trump is an alien or a robot.
Okay, with that, happy Father's Day.
Right, exactly. So really had a great time today, Michael, where we did transition back into the law, which was really, really good. So other than that, have a great week. You're listening to Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalski, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom.